Trust your gut, guys. Always. Because today's story is going to be about a time where my college friends and I encountered an individual that immediately gave me the worst vibes ever. And then not only did everything that I feel about that individual turn out to be true, but it basically ripped my entire group of college friends apart. Welcome to spooky season, guys. Okay, but before we get into today's tale, I want to bring it back real quick to last season when I briefly talked about the kuleana of the storyteller. And I want to emphasize on the part where I said that there are some stories that just aren't yours to tell. Now, why is this, you may ask? Well, I like to connect it back to the kumulipo, because you see, the kumulipo is more than just this big creation chant. To me, it's like the basis of all things Hawaii. And that includes ha'i moʻolelo, or storytelling. You see, the kumulipo can be seen as this massive genealogical chain of events that shows that everything in the Hawaii universe has a function, cause, and effect. Hanau kumulipo ka po he kane. Kumulipo was born, a male energy. Hanau poʻele ka po he wahine. Poʻele was born, a female energy. And then, because of those kane and wahine energies, hanau ka ukoʻokoʻa, hanau kana. The coral polyp was born, and then from that came coral. And then from that thing comes something else, and then from that thing comes another something else. It's all linked. So when it comes to Hawaiian storytelling, just like the kumulipo, every story that emerges is linked to something that came from before, and according to the way the storyteller births or tells a story, can and will affect what comes after. So I, as a storyteller, need to be super clear about what pukas or emerges from my mouth. And because today's story involves some pretty heavy events, out of respect for all those who are involved, I'm only gonna share my perspective on what happened and how it affected me and my college journey. Oh, and to make sure that I stay on track and I don't share anything I'm not supposed to, I'm actually gonna full on follow a script today. Cause I don't want any bad jujus coming my way. And yeah, this kanaka does not want that smoke. Okay, but since I'm pretty much just gonna be reading to you guys today, I'm just gonna noho right here and just read my script kind of like I'm having a little book reading time with you guys. Hope that's okay. If not, you can tune out and wait for the next episode. Although I think you might want to stick around for this one because it's definitely interesting. Oh, I should be like the Kainia. What is it? That old Nickelodeon show, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Okay, we go try. And so I bring to you folks today the tale of DB Man and his cult. So fast forward to a lot later in my college era, I started growing really close to one of my hoʻosilpi, the Hawaiian Hermione Granger. And just like that promise I mentioned in the finale of season 1, we continued to take many of our ike and ʻōlelo Hawaii classes together. And we hung out a lot. We're both interested in what some people label as spooky kind things. And we just had this super cool brother-sister kind pilina. At one point, the Hawaiian Hermione Granger started growing super hoi about learning and getting involved with a specific Hawaii practice. She was all about it. And at that point, I had no real interest in it, but because she was my friend and it was for something Hawaiian culture related, I wanted to kākoʻo. Next thing you know, she had met up with the right people, cultural practitioners who would help her begin this journey. I was there for the first initial meeting and it was pretty cool. I mean, I still had no real interest in it, but I did enjoy some of the people we met. Anyways, while we were there, the kumu of that particular place of learning had asked Hermione a bit about her genealogy, and in doing so, the kumu realized that Hermione was possibly related to someone that was also associated with that halau. And I do remember some of the other haumana of that school who were there snickering because it turned out that they all knew whom their kumu was referring to. Mind you that this person that their kumu was talking about was not present at this first meeting. So fast forward a bit again, and that guy who Hermione was supposedly related to was gonna come by the dorms and meet her for the very first time. And again, because I was the supportive friend, I wanted to be there to be, well, supportive. Now, before we continue, I want to add in that at this point, a good number of my HOACOP and I had all moved into the Hawaiian floor in Johnson Hall. This floor was supposed to serve almost as a pu'uhonua for kanaka who lived on campus. And it wasn't just a floor for Hawaiians, but for anyone who loved Hawaiian culture, its language, and its people. Luckily, my friends and I had arranged it so that we'd all be on this floor together. And not gonna lie, it was pretty awesome. Adam the Power Ranger lived next door to me, J-Love lived down the hall, and Hermione was here too. It was a safe space. Until, yeah. So the big day arrives and Hermione's relative shows up. His inoa kapa shall be DB Man. I remember the second he walked upstairs to our lounge or hangout area, and I felt incredibly uneasy. Note to all the people watching, really pay attention to how your body reacts around certain people, cause it's letting you know what's up. He then honied Hermione and proceeded to honi the rest of us who were there. When DB Man got to me, my Naʻau churned, and I just got this really bad feeling. It wasn't even a feeling, it was like a knowing. It's hard to explain, but sometimes it happens. Anyways, he introduced himself to us all, and we found out that he was also a student at UH. Shortly after Oya's introduction, I got out of there, went straight back to my room to figure out what the heck those vibes were about, and as I sat in my room, I tried focusing on what I felt, and in the meantime, I could hear DB Man and Hermione talking story down the hall. There was some laughter here and there, and again, I didn't really know how I came to this conclusion, but somehow I just knew deep down that this DB Man guy, he was bad news. Later that day, after DB Man had left our sanctuary, my friends and I decided to take a walk over to the 7-Eleven that was right down the road from our dorm. On our way there, I decided to use this opportunity to tell Hermione what I felt about her relative. She heard me out, but that was pretty much it. She let me know that she had already made plans to meet with him later that week to do genealogy research, and that I was invited to tag along if I wanted to investigate my feelings further. And, thanks to some major events in my childhood, my first reaction was, I need to stick around and protect my friend. When in reflection, I really should have used my horror movie knowledge in this situation.
You know that part in horror movies where you want to yell at the characters to be smart and get the fuck out? This is that part, Richie. You should get the fuck out.
So fast forward again and a few things happened. DB Man weaseled his way into my friend group, and thanks to his association with the other cultural practitioners, he was able to manipulate a good number of people within my friend group into doing things that I felt weren't right. Lots and lots of bullying was going on. It was mostly Kanaka going after other Kanaka. Hawaiians deliberately trying to make other Hawaiians feel less Hawaiian. DB Man would even try to get us to talk smack about each other behind each other's backs. He straight up lived for all of that toxic energy. And if any of us questioned him, he'd always say, if you're questioning me, that means you're questioning my kumu and my halau. Is that what you're really trying to do? Maybe I'll let my kumu know how you feel. There was a lot of that BS logic going on. And for those wondering, well, why were you guys so scared of causing pilikia with his kumu? Well, his kumu just so happened to be a kinda well-known Hawaii person, and we didn't want to cause any trouble with that kumu or that halau. When in reality, what we really should have done is go straight to his kumu in the first place. Anyways, I happened to be one of the few who upright challenged DB Man in front of everyone in the dorms. And DB Man was not having it. He went off on me, and from there he made it his mission to make my entire college experience a nightmare. He told me that I wasn't welcome around his halau or his kumu, and that all those in the halau wanted nothing to do with me. He even found old YouTube videos that I had put online back when I was in high school, and he would play them in front of people just so he could make fun of me. He also photoshopped really disturbing pictures of me, and he pretty much harassed me for the remainder of that semester. Fun times. And you know what was probably the most irritating, hurtful part of all of this? Was that the people I was trying to protect from DB Man would just let him continue doing all these things that he was doing to me. And he wasn't just doing these things to me, but to others within our CLP group as well. To Hermione's credit, she did try to intervene, by asking DB Man to tone it down and to stop, but guess what? That only made him want to do it more. I'm also gonna go off script just for this part, and because I want to add in why were all of your friends letting him do all these stupid, mean things to everyone? Well, Hermione, because this individual was supposedly her cousin, not only did he play the family card on her, but he also played it on all of us. Like, oh, she has to stick up for me because we're ohana. And then not only just that, but this DB man was like at least 30 years old, and we had all like, we just turned 20. So this guy who was 10 years older than us was coming around, and due to his association with that halau, he tried to pull rank over us all the time. So it was just a lot of cultural things were being thrown into the equation. The whole, you have to respect me because I'm your elder, which honestly, that to me, no, that doesn't fly. And because I challenged that, and you know, many of the kanaka in my generation, that was kind of like embedded into us, like you have to respect your elders no matter what. And because this guy was an elder, he would always pull that card on us, like, oh, you guys have to respect me because I'm older and I'm a part of this halau. So you guys just have to allow me to do what I do, pretty much. And if you guys challenge me, then you're acting like a haole. He pretty much say that, like you're acting like a malihini. And to me, none of his logic made any sense whatsoever. So to my friends who were being brainwashed, to them they saw what I was doing as hewa, because they're like, oh, you're not supposed to do that. That's our ohana. He's our elder. He's also associated with all of these culture practitioners. Like, he's just let him go. Nope. Yeah, that's not how I operate. But okay, we're going back on script now. So what eventually happened was I took a page from the Kaʻao story, because at one point in that Kaʻao, Kaʻao, who was kind of like this super nice guy and was actually the kahu, or the caretaker for his ali'i Keawe Nui Aumi. Well, thanks to the arrival of a few toxic, manipulative individuals, all of Kaʻao's friends and even his ali'i Keawe Nui himself began to slowly turn on Kaʻao. I believe some of them even began to engage in some full-on hauwalao action against Kaʻao. So after being mistreated for a bit, Kaʻao decided to full-on remove himself from the picture. Went to a totally different mokupuni until his inner circle could get some dang common sense, wake up and figure out who the bad guys really were. So myself and a few others from my original COP gang, we slowly removed ourselves from what I'll call the cult of DB Man, and we just did our own thing, which was actually small kind hard, being that we all lived on the same floor in the same building, but we made it work. Next thing you know, it was summertime, and just like Kaʻao, I got the heck out of there and went right back home to Hawaii Island. And from there, I was safe from all that Oahu craziness. Mind you, I actually managed to get some really good grades that semester, so to all of those going through psycho challenges while trying to get through school, sometimes if you channel all that chaotic energy into getting things done, such as studying or finishing that 8-page essay, it works. For me, I refuse to let DB Man or his brainwashed followers mess me up academically. Yeah, hell no. Anyways, so my summer was going pretty good. I think that was also around the first time ever I went down into Waipio Valley, and that's actually a whole other story in itself. But at some point during the summer, I began to have these reoccurring dreams about my friends who had been sucked into the cult of DB Man. One dream that stood out in particular was focused primarily on Hermione, and in that dream, Hermione was in a foggy white room, and there were a few of her kūpuno around, but they were unable to communicate with her for some reason. So one of her kūpuna, an elderly Hawaiian man with a long white beard, he came up to me, he took my right arm, and he began to squeeze it. And like, he squeezed it really hard. He squeezed it so hard that when I woke up, I got up and I could still feel him holding onto my arm. It was really trippy. So I ended up reaching out to Hermione via text, but the response that I got from her was cold. It was like a whole different person was talking to me. To sum it up, Hermione basically said, "Noʻeau, how about you get a life and mind your business?" Yep, That's pretty much what Hermione told me. And not gonna lie, it hurt like a lot because it was like our whole brother-sister dynamic that she and I had just went poof. So fast forward again, and we're all back in school for fall semester. And guess what, guys? When I got back, I found out that some horrible things did in fact go down. Out of respect for all those involved, and trust me, there were many who played a part in what happened that summer. But yeah, out of respect for all of them, I won't go into detail about any of it. Because again, viewers, sometimes there really are stories that aren't yours to tell. But the main point I want to make here, and hold up, I'm actually going to do this a little differently. I'm going to do this part as if I'm speaking to the Noʻeau of that time, the more naive Noʻeau who just wanted to save everybody and just protect people. Because he's still in there, he's still in here, and sometimes he needs a little reminding of this event so that we don't continue these cycles. But yeah, this is to you, Noʻeau. I'm looking at you, Noʻeau. Look at me back. When you do get those intuitive vibes from your Naʻau, and they're so strong that they like radiate out to the rest of your kino, when you get those vibes, always trust it. Always. Even if the people within your immediate circle try to discredit you or negate your feelings, which will hurt every single time. Sorry about it, buddy, but yeah. Sometimes people can just be mean and they don't get where you're coming from. They might never get where you're coming from, so you just gotta let them go. And sure, you can definitely try and help them a little by like telling them what you feel and what you know deep down, like you feel that it's oya i'o, but at the end of the day, it is not on you. Are you listening, Noʻeau? Hello, Noʻeau? Pay attention. At the end of the day, it is not on you to save anyone, even if sometimes these people are your best friends or your family. Okay, with that being said, and so ends today's truly horrific college tale. Hope I didn't scare you guys away. I promise I'll try and make next episode a lot more lighthearted, like a lot more lighthearted. Because even just me talking about this is just like stirring up lots of uncomfortable memories. Because this is definitely like this was the Disney Channel version of what happened. Yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys stick around for next episode. And I also hope you guys are enjoying spooky season, because I know I am. Aloha.